thanks Ilan and Dana for the kind invitation to present in this session. I have elected to share with you Homage to an infectious diseases titan. And the titan was Harald Zurhausen, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2008 for his discovery that human papillomaviruses cause cervical cancer. Zurhausen had a catchphrase, about which more will come later, that in two short and simple words very well describes his personality and approach to life. And the catchphrase was, "What's new?" Zurhausen was born in Germany in 1936. He was the youngest of four siblings, shown here third from the left in the picture. And from a very young age, Zurhausen had an intensive interest in biology, in birds, other animals, plants, and flowers, and became very determined to be a scientist. He studied medicine and biology at the universities of Bonn, Hamburg, and Düsseldorf, qualifying as a physician in 1962. At this time, he became fascinated by the experimental studies on virus-induced chromosomal modifications. In 1966, he moved to the United States, where he stayed until 1969 at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. He joined the research group of the German couple Werner and Gertrude Henl, who proved the connection between EBV and Burkitt lymphoma by showing the presence of EBV particles in lymphoma cells. In 1969, Zurhausen moved back to Germany to join a recently opened virology institute, and he started building his own research group. At that time, he was able to document the presence of EBV DNA in epithelial tumor cells using in situ hybridization, a technique that was very important for his subsequent studies. Cervical cancer had long been suspected of being caused by an infectious agent, and in the late 60s, HSV2 emerged as the prime suspect based on some sero-epidemiological observation, and a large number of reports at that time seemed to confirm this association. However, in the 70s, Zurhausen's group failed to find HSV2 DNA in cervical cancer cells, and instead they found HPV-related genome sequences, and then the hypothesis of a link between HPV and cervical cancer was born. But his theory and supporting evidence was greeted with widespread skepticism at the time, as it challenged conventional wisdom. In subsequent studies, Zurhausen was able to isolate and characterize HPV 6 and 11 from genital warts and laryngeal papillomas, and was able to generate information that helped to understand the plurality of the human papillomaviruses family. Several of his landmark publications from this period are shown on the right-hand side of this slide. In publications in 83 and 84, Zurhausen's team reported on HPV 16 and 18, which they had in the meantime cloned and characterized from cervical cancer biopsies, and which were found to contribute to around 70% of the cervical tumors. Again, to the right of this slide, you can see the title pages of key papers from this period. Subsequent research from his group led to the understanding of the mechanism of HPV-mediated carcinogenesis by demonstrating that there was integration of viral HPV DNA into cervical cancer cells with partial deletion of viral DNA and selective transcription of viral E6 and E7 genes, as shown here in the figure, that are regularly expressed in cervical cancer cells, which had been transformed from normal human epithelial cells following HPV infection. He could also show that the inhibition of the expression of these genes arrested the growth of cancer cells. So, in summary, the early hypothesis that cervical cancer was caused by papillomaviruses, the successful isolation and characterization of the two most frequent HPV types, 16 and 18, in this cancer, and the subsequent steps leading to the understanding of the mechanism of HPV-mediated carcinogenesis laid the foundations for the development of a vaccine to prevent HPV infection and cervical cancer that was one of the most frequent cancers and one of the most frequent causes of death from cancer among women in the world. However, the development of the vaccine did not happen straight away and was done later by others. In fact, HPV vaccines have been now available since 2006 and are now included in the national immunization programs of more than 100 countries, benefiting millions of people, opening a new dimension of cancer prevention, and most recently culminating in the WHO goal of eliminating cervical cancer worldwide. For this exceptional work, Zurausten was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2008. The ceremony took place in December at Karolinska Institutet in Stockholm, as shown here in the picture. And for his Nobel lecture, Zurausten decided not to follow the tradition of talking about the work that led to the award, but instead he decided to present his subsequent research that he had started in 2001 on other viruses that could be linked to cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, and may be linked to other diseases of unknown etiology, such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, work to which he was devoted until the end of his career. Over the years, many fortunate individuals had the opportunity to meet him at conferences, and I was one of them. One unforgettable event was his participation in the 10th Pediatric Infectious Disease course supported by ESPID that took place in Coimbra in 2015. We were also very fortunate to convince him to come to ESPID meeting in Brighton in 2016, and is shown here with myself and Stan Plotkin, another PID titan. Interacting with Professor Zurausten was a unique experience, and I feel very, very privileged to have been able to do so. And now I would like to read a testimonial from two of his colleagues from Germany. The daily question to his team members, "What's new?" was a hallmark of Harold's visits to the lab. He cultured an inspiring and creative working atmosphere in which everyone felt comfortable and could deliver top-notch performance. He was a visionary who doggedly pursued his ideas and questioned everything critically and constructively. The high standards he set for himself, he also inspired in others, and he always treated his counterparts with the highest esteem. Harold will be remembered as a person who rendered outstanding contributions to humankind. And to conclude, Harold said, "I have had the unusual chance of a colorful and most interesting long life." Harold Zurausten died on the 28th of May, 2023. Thank you.